Alright guys, Uriah with Guarding a Safe and Lock here. Today we're going to make a video on, how to pick a lock. I'm not trying to share this information so that I can share it with thieves or anything like that, but after looking online, there's plenty of information on how to do this. I'm not giving away any information that's going to cause problems, but you can get in many other easier ways too. You can use bump keys and things like that. So I'm just going to put this out there, how to pick a lock. A lot of people search for it. It's not something you just, oh, that's how you do it, and then all of a sudden you know how to do it either. This is something that takes practice. You may be able to get one here or there. So it's not like this is how to do it and now everybody's going to go out and start picking locks. That's not how it works. And there's locks I can't pick sometimes. I mean, there comes a point too where you're like, all right, I've been picking this for 5 minutes. If I keep going, maybe in an hour I might be able to get it. Maybe 30 minutes, maybe in a minute I might be able to get it. So it comes a point too where you're like, okay, I've invested enough time in this. Let's go to the next step. Let's just get this out of the way. So I'm not sharing this to put out bad information or anything. It's just more of an educational. This is how it's done. This is the concept. These are some of the techniques, and that's it. So let's get into it. So I'm going to draw a little bit up here about what kind of like the inside of a lock looks like so you can understand how it's working. I also have some cutaway locks that you can see inside of so you can see how they all interact, the parts. I do have I just wanted to pull this apart first before I do anything. So this right here is a standard, lock housing. You see a lock, it would look something like this, right? With a little plug inside and the housing. So when you have the housing and you take the plug out, this is the part that when the key is right and all the pins line up flush, when you're turning the key, this is the part that turns over like that, okay? So whenever the key goes in and everything lines up flush on here, the cylinder will turn inside. Okay, I'll show you how all the pins and everything interact in a little bit, but that's I just wanted to show you this so you see what's spinning. So obviously if things aren't flat here, then this isn't going to spin in here. If something's sticking up or protruding above, then it's going to be blocking it from turning. So that's how a lock works. You get the lock that lines up all the pins, it turns smooth, and then you're good to go. So this is the housing, this is the plug, sorry about that. This is the plug. Housing and plug. So let me draw those on here. Let's visualize this a little bit more. So we'll say this is the housing, okay? The plug is inside of here. So if you're looking at it from the side, this is where the keyhole goes, okay? And then you're gonna have chambers. We'll draw 5 since most locks have 5 chambers, okay? And then those chambers go down inside the cylinder also. This is a bad drawing, but I'm showing you just so you can kind of get it. So whenever they go inside those holes, just like this, you have the holes that those pins fall into. Okay, and notice there's 5, right? So this is called the plug. So this interior piece is the plug. This is the housing. Okay? Then inside, above this, you have your spring, and then you have a flat pin where it's flat on both sides, okay? And that flat on both sides pin is called a driver pin. Okay, they come in different, it could be longer like that, and these are shorter, it doesn't matter. So those are called your driver pins, okay? And the reason why they're called driver pins is they drive down the pin that's below it into the plug where it's supposed to. So below those drivers, you're going to have a pin below it, and it's beveled. Okay, kind of like that, beveled. So spring pushes the driver, driver pushes the bottom pin into place. So if you have your key, it's bad drawing, but I'm going to try my best here, right? It has your cuts in it like this or whatever it is. And the bottom pin is beveled at the bottom, right? So when you have the bottom pin, okay? That's whenever you put the key in, this bottom pin hopefully lines up flush with this line and allows it to turn whenever they're all flush. So the bottom pin, then you have that driver, and then you have the spring, driver, bottom pin, okay? So whenever you put the key in and all the heights line up just perfectly, then all your bottom pins will line up where the top of them are right there at the shear line, okay? It's divoted down into the key, and they all line up, when they all line up flush right here, which is called the shear line. Okay, the shear line. That's where it turns over. So, whenever key goes in, there's the pins that fall into all those pockets, and then when they're flush, they'll line up all flat, which will keep, whenever that turns, the pins will stay in the cylinder, the plug, and all those driver pins will stay up in the top with the springs pressing down on top of them. They're not coming down because they're resting on this at that point. And then when it comes back to straight, then if it's flat, the driver pins rest on top of the bottom pins, and it'll just spin freely. You pull it out, and then they all shift in different patterns. So that's generally how that works. I can clean this up real quick for you. But just to recap really quick, okay? Key has divots in it, right? Key goes into the plug. Plug is inside of the housing, right? There's the plug. And then this is your shear line where the plug and the housing meet. Where'd that thing go? Sorry, there it is. Okay, so then whenever your bottom pins all meet perfectly in here, and they all line up perfectly, and the divot goes right into the crease, you'll have the driver pins above it and the springs holding it up, right? So all those line up. The shear line right here allows the cylinder to spin. That's how lock works, okay? So when you're trying to pick a lock, I'm trying to get these driver pins to hang up on the top while I'm picking it. I'm putting tension on the lock. I'm kind of kicking the cylinder just a hair off the center point, so that when I'm picking it, these pins bounce the driver pins up and they hang above the line. So if you're picturing it, it's hard to picture this, but let me try to get this to you. Inside of this housing, I don't know if you can even get that view or not, but you see those holes in there? Okay, those holes right there line up with those holes right there, right? So when they go in, they're just like that. You have your springs inside of this, which is called the Bible, and then your driver pins, then your bottom pins. So I'm trying to get, when I'm picking, I'm trying to get those driver pins, because you're using a tension tool just to put a little pressure I'm turning it just a little bit as I pick it, putting pressure on it to kick it off to the side. I want to get those driver pins to hang up on top of here. So I'm getting them all because I'm putting just a little pressure and I'm making those holes just slightly misalign. When I'm picking them, the driver pins will just kind of hang up on the top, and once I get them all to hang up there, it'll turn over, and that's how you pick a lock. We're going to do some demos. We're going to go front right now. I'm going to show you a cutaway lock, show you how it reacts as I'm picking it, and then I'll probably pick a lock or two and show you how that works too. All right, so we've got our little lock here, a little lock setup we have that we're going to be picking. Also, I wanted to show you a little bit about some lock picks. So this right here is a Sparrow lock pick set. This is actually one I got for our employees. I got them all one for Christmas. So you open this up, and then you've got all your different picks and tension tools and things like that, right? So basically, just not to get in too much into this, you have tension tools, which put tension on the lock cylinder, and then you have picks. The picks are hitting the pins. The tension tools just trying to put a little pressure on the cylinder to turn so that you can get those pins to hook up on the top like I was showing you on the board over there. So my go-to is he has his tension tools over here, and he's got all his picks, right? Some of them are used as rakes, some are diamond point picks, they have different names for them. There's all kinds of different ones. My go-to is a diamond. Let's see if I can get that right there where you can see it, maybe. A little hard to see, but that is a diamond pick. You see the shape of it because it kind of looks like a diamond. Let me zoom out. There you go. So diamond pick. I also put these little handles on them because when you're picking a lot, it digs into your hand here. So I slid this little padded cover on it, the grip, so you can hold it. So this is a diamond pick. And then you got different tension tools. Like here's a tension tool. Here's a tension tool. And we bend these and turn them into whatever shape we need them and whatever length we need them. They come in different sizes for, hard tension, light tension, medium tension, all kinds of different things. So I'm just going to take my diamond pick, and these are not been pre-set up or anything, so hopefully I can pick them. So these haven't been set up at all, so I'll just try picking this deadbolt. And then I have a clear cutaway lock up front, and in that cutaway lock, I'll show you as I do things kind of what's happening inside the lock so you can see, just so you can, see how it's interacting with the picking. Okay, so I've got the lock here set up. I've got my tension tool I'm going to be using, my diamond pick I'm going to be using. There's many different ones you could use. This one just fits better for what I want to do. So I'm going to put the tension tool in here, okay? And if you notice, you see how the cylinder moves just a little bit? That's all I'm doing, is I'm literally just putting some weight on it to kick those hole positions where the chambers, where the pins are going up and down, just kick them off just the slightest so that when I'm picking, the pin hangs up on top of the plug. So I'm going to try to hold this display in position as I do this. So I'm putting very light tension with my finger, right? And I'm gonna use the technique going from front to back, up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. A lot of people do raking. There's raking where you're pulling in and out quickly. I just like to bounce the pins up and down. That's my method that I like. It works good for me, so let me give it a shot. So I'm just trying to get those pins to hang up on the top. Oh, well, that was pretty quick. Well, there you go. So that is picked. Not always that easy, but front to back. Oh, got it again. So anyway, not always that easy, but that's the concept. I'm basically getting it to full. I'm getting it to all those driver pins stuck above that shear line until it allows it to spin, which is what I'm going to try to do one more time. Let's see if we do it. I'm letting the tension lighter and heavier as I try. I'm going from front to back. Sometimes you have to move the tension tool out of the hole a little bit because it's in your way and your pick can't move freely. So if I go front to back, start with the back, come all the way up to the front until I feel that I have it in the position I need. And there we go. All right. So that's how you pick a lock. I'm going to take you up front and show you an exploded view of, not exploded view, I'm sorry, a cutaway cylinder, and to show you how it interacts with my pick, and then we'll wrap this video up. All right. So this is a cutaway cylinder, right? So you see as I turn, see how those pins in there are all remaining in the plug? That's because they all line up flush where the shear line is and allow it to freely spin. And you see how the top driver pins that are right below the springs up here in the head, you have the springs, then you have the driver pins. Those driver pins are what I'm trying to get to hang up on top as I'm picking. So I'm trying to get it to basically stay up top like it is right now with it turned. So this is how the inner workings of this lock work, so you can see. So the bottom pins stay in as you turn it. So let me just show you real quick on this. If I'm in here, I'm not trying to pick it or anything, but notice how when I'm bouncing on it, see what happens? So if I have my tension tool, I got a slight little bit of tension on it, then you'll start noticing these top lines that start getting stuck up there like that, above the shear line. They'll stay right up there above the shear line. And once they're all above that, turns over. So I have one right here. If you want to get set up on this one here, I'll show you. I have a little lock right here that I guess I'll just try to pick it real quick to show you. And there's my tension tool. Okay, so I've got some tension tools here. I'll try this one. All right, so I got the tension tool in here, right? And you can see as I put it in there right away, it starts to move the plug, right? This is very simple. I just want to show you. So I'm in here, I'm picking back to front, and you can see all those. There it goes. See? Fooled it. So now it's in the pick position. So I can just spin it back, and there you go. So one more time, just for visual. Picking from the back to the front, light tension, very light tension, front to back, I'm just making sure I'm bumping them all. And there we go. Okay, lock turns over. So that's how you do it. All right, guys, that makes another video on how to pick a lock. We appreciate you watching our content, and we definitely would appreciate a subscription. So if you would please hit the subscribe button for us, or the like icon also. We're on all other social media platforms, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We're on all of them. We're trying to build our followers and subscribers on all those channels, but specifically on YouTube right now. And we are starting some other channels, which we'll announce to you shortly. We do have some other projects working and some other small series within our channels that are in the development phases. So stay tuned for more information for Guardian Safe and Lock, and we appreciate the support.